welcome to the Biggest Lesson series. It's the podcast. Today we've had an opportunity to learn lessons on a daily basis in the last over 80 days. And today we're going to be discussing some of the lessons that we agree with, the ones that we disagree with, the one that we think that they should pick the person that gave the lesson and beat them small king. I'm not here alone on the Biggest Lesson podcast for today. I have my goons here. We've had this podcast before once, when it was some early days, but unfortunately we didn't bring it out for you to see. But this time around we are on day 80 something, and we decided that we're going to do it and then bring it out before day 100. You're going to see on day 100, you're going to see some of our thoughts on the Biggest Lesson series. So you're welcome to the Biggest Lesson podcast. I'm going to be asking all of the people on the team to introduce themselves from my left. Extreme left, introduce yourself.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Adioye Abdulwasi Omobola, popularly known as Soft Boy Wasio.
Yeah.
My name is Emmanuel. Everybody just calls me Emmanuel.
Oh, okay.
And Sophia Abimbola, just Sophia.
Yeah. So my name is Ifebami Dele. I host the Biggest Lesson series, and the reason we came for the podcast, the reason we're doing this podcast is because the timing for the Biggest Lesson series is so short, and people say I have so much more to say, and then sometimes some people will message me and call me and say, how did that person say that on the series? Why did that person say that? How can somebody say that? And I'm like, calm down, just calm down. There will be a time when we're going to actually trash these lessons and we're going to be more consistent with it. Now that we have done the first one, just watch out for the next one. And if your lesson is the one that we massacred, sorry, no vex, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting and exciting one. I'm sure you want to know the lessons that some of these people disagree with, the lessons they agree with, and then some of the lessons that they thought that could have been them. The lesson where you think that just could have been me. I don't know what your own lesson is, but if you've been following the Biggest Lesson series, this is time to listen. You will hear some private gist about us as well. So just stay tuned. We may tell you some important things about how this lesson has been going by. Thank you very much for staying tuned. So let's go first by saying, what was your own lesson, Sophia?
My lesson was to be wary of people. I think in the words of that was it. To fear people.
Yeah.
And the reason why I took that lesson was because over time, thankfully for me, I didn't learn the lesson from myself. I learned it from people.
Okay.
So yeah, I just looked at my environment, I looked at the experiences of people, and then I realized that not everybody is really your friend, even when they claim to be your friend.
Wow.
So I think that we should just be self-conscious.
Sophia said fear people. How can you be fearing people? Are you not going to? You're sitting now with somebody. Somebody is taking pictures. Somebody
Be
is
conscious.
using
Be
video. Somebody is.
conscious.
If
Just
you're
be
conscious,
conscious.
you screw yourself because
No, not really. I don't think so.
Okay, we'll get to that point. So let's calm down for her now. Calm down for Sophia. Emmanuel, what was your lesson?
my lesson was this: that not everyone is fortunate to have people who will do life with them. And if you are very fortunate to have someone who will do life with you, hold them tight.
If you are fortunate enough to have somebody who will do life with you, hold them tight. Soft boy, what was your lesson actually?
Okay, my lesson is something that everybody can, relate with.
Everybody.
Yes.
You're so sure.
Don't try to be Don't try to be good in everyone's book. Yes, don't try to be good in everyone's book. Okay, let me say in conclusion, don't try to be good in everyone's book simply means you can't satisfy everybody.
True that. Most of us agree with it. Okay. My own lesson was people change. I think my lesson was number one lesson at day one. I wanted to start this thing, and I told myself I'm going to start this lesson. And my biggest lesson was that people do change, and that's still my lesson. But I've added to it. After that, I know some people have come to meet me and then they say, "Sir, I want to change my lesson, or I want to improve my lesson. I want to have my lesson 2.0. If I had a chance to do 2.0 for my lesson, it would be that people change and that things or circumstances also change. Not just people. But let me quickly go. Emmanuel, which lesson do you disagree with?
2 lessons. Number 1, first lesson.
You're just out to get me, but
No.
let's have it.
So the rationale behind disagreeing with a lesson is this: if I'm sitting with Wasio and I'm always conscious of Wasio, or if I'm fearing Wasio, I'm not just going to live with peace of mind.
To fear me.
Exactly.
Am I dangerous?
I'm not going to live with
Even
peace
though
of
I am,
mind.
For some people, yeah, that's no. I don't
If
think
you have
it's
to,
like that.
if you have to go to the cafeteria and always wonder if someone is going to poison you,
That's right.
Who says
You're not going to
always
live your
want that
life.
always Just don't point
Just
something
fear
at
people.
yourself.
Sophia said that you should just fear people.
just fear people.
Be wary
Then
of people. What's the second?
second lesson was David's lesson.
David, you
David's
worry.
lesson. So he says, treat others exactly the same way they treat you. If
Yeah.
they
An
do
eye
not-
for an eye.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So an eye for an eye
Makes the world go blind.
So extend grace to others.
I think that was
that was
somebody's
someone's lesson.
Yeah.
Very recent, one of the
Yeah.
past few days. So extend grace to others.
Yeah.
Doctor said circumstances change. So
right.
someone might be going through life, you might be the only person between the person and death, of course, as in suicide.
Sophia, what lessons do you disagree with?
Honestly, it was David's lesson as well.
David.
'Cause
Don't worry,
I
I'll look
think
for a
that we
day
should
and bring
just-
David on this, maybe on one of the podcasts. It will be nice to hear David out.
Yeah, we should not let other people's bad attitude towards us to change who we are. Don't let other just be who you are to the best of your abilities.
Okay, soft boy. Do you disagree with any lesson? You don't have to,
I not really that I disagree,
Yeah,
or will I call it my own ideology?
yeah.
Okay, there are two lessons that my ideology does not agree with. Maybe it's because of my ideology, like I said at first. The first one is by Aruna Yakobu.
Yeah.
He said, "Stay away from those who discourage you."
Yeah.
So are you now for that? Is like I quote again: "Stay away from those who discourage you."
Yeah.
If you fail now, right, and someone is like kind of correcting you
Yeah,
to do better,
yeah.
or kind of trying to like tell you that your plan, what you are planning, it's not going to work out. Do it this way and this way. And we all know something. Nobody is an island of what knowledge. You need knowledge from what.
So
one
are
place or
you
the other.
suggesting that there's a difference? Is there a difference between those who discourage you and those who are able to give you factual assessments of what's going on? Because discouragement means that they don't want things to. That it's not from a good place.
Okay, what if like you use the word discourage? If you are trying to do something, okay, I'm a student engineer.
Yeah.
I'm planning on something to build somebody. Then maybe my uncle or my dad is an engineer. He's experienced, right, as an engineer. And he told and he told
And then
me
he
that
tells you that something
this
will,
and
this
this-
thing will not work.
he encouraged
Don't do
me
it.
to-
Like
So are you not trying
are you
to
saying
that I should
stay
stay
away?
away?
I'm
Because
sure
that is
that-
the experience.
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
think
I'm not
I've
sure
seen
whether
that
that's
person
what he
That's
meant.
exactly-
But
Yeah.
I get your own perspective as well.
Like I
that-
said, my ideology.
I get you. So sometimes the rationale for that will be that some people prefer to have yes men all the time. So you are like the only people who I'm going to stay around are people who say, "Oh, everything that you are doing is good. Everything that you are doing it rightly." And there will be people who should disagree with you, and then sometimes discourage you for don't go that route.
And
It's
to-
not good
to
for you.
add to that, there was somebody's lesson that is never give up.
Yeah.
And then I think
Oh, yeah, I think I
that was
remember.
the one that
Yeah, that was
you
one
just
that you
know when
initially-
to
know
give
when
up.
to give
Yeah,
up.
it's
Know
like
when
you
to
should
give up.
never
It
give
was
up.
the Dr.
And
Dr.
then-
Babalola, and they said never give up.
Yeah, and then I think the rationale behind that person saying stay away from people who discourage you. I think from that idea, from that perspective of never give up. If you have somebody that knows when you should give up,
Yeah.
and then just telling you, okay, I think this is the point where you should give up. That's not discouraging you. That's just letting you know when, like, just putting you on the right track, so to say, something like that. So I think that's just.
I think for me, the lesson I disagree with, or the lessons that I have disagreed with, have been lessons around Miriam's lesson. I think that's day 62.
I said I have two.
Okay, so there's a second lesson that you
I've
disagree
said
with. What's the
just
second lesson?
one.
What's the second
The
lesson?
second one is by Benjamin Oyewale.
Oyewale.
Sorry, Oyewale. He
Yeah.
said, "Hold on to God."
Yeah.
You don't think so?
I think so.
This is the month of Ramadan.
This is the moment of Ramadan, so I want to be as honest as I want to be as plain as I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. If you are telling me that I should hold on to God without making an attempt, or without
That's
trying
not
to-
the point.
The point is you make an attempt first before holding on to God.
You're saying that people should not expect that God should do for them
Everything.
things that they can do for themselves.
Exactly.
I agree with you. But I'm sure that he meant well, because if you listen to that lesson very well, he tried to explain about how when he finds himself in very difficult situations or challenging places, that God serves as anchor, like something that you can hold on to when things seem like everything is going the way you didn't plan, and that you are in a tough situation. You find God.
And then there's also someone else's lesson, Sunto, that says God is always the answer. So
Yeah.
I think that's like the perspective they're coming from. If you find yourself in a terrible spot, just
I think for me, the lessons that I have disagreed with, and I know that I always mentioned that this was going to be a talking point, are people like Miriam on Day 62 that say be independent. I think Adetola said, learn to live your life. Other people will adjust. There's another person who has said something related to that. There's about 3 of such lessons, and I keep asking myself, can we live for ourselves?
I think we cannot, right?
No, I
Like
think so.
we as humans, right? Our lives would always revolve around the next person.
I think so, but people have come up with different lessons that makes it sound as if we can actually be. Can we live by ourselves? Can we be
can.
actually independent?
Not entirely.
I know what they mean. I mean, independence
So,
of thought,
yeah.
independence of opinion. Don't let other people run you over. Don't live your life for other people. But like, for example, when we had Adetola on, I had to ask her, don't you think that we live for other people? We live for our colleagues, our friends, our family members, those who have children, our spouses, our faith and our religion, our God, and that's how most of our decisions are usually made.
Yeah.
Or so I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Between now and maybe in another 1 year, you're going to ask yourself some of the things that I've done. Why do I want to do them? And oftentimes you discover that there are other people in the mix. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we're going to mention the lesson that you thought could have been you. That's, you heard somebody's lesson like this and you're like, no, this person took it out of my mouth. Like, this person thought that was me. Like, when I was hearing this lesson, if the lesson I gave was not my lesson, this would have been my lesson. And when we come back, we'll take that up. Thank you very much. Welcome back. Now we're on to the lesson that just could have been you. You know that time when somebody speaks somewhere and you're like, did I just hear myself? Like, was that me? Like, this lesson resonates so well with me. I don't know how you feel about that, but Emmanuel, what lesson would that have been?
I think that lesson will be day 3 of the Moise Mohassen.
Yeah.
So he says, life is the ultimate prize. Just live life. So in our bid to achieve, right? We forget to live life. We forget to experience the joy and sorrows of life. So I want to do this. I want to become whoever it is I want to become. And all that I revolve my life around is that goal. So I discovered that I would discover that in the time frame in between that moment and my goal, right? I would think back when I've achieved my goal, and I would have nothing to look back at here, basically. So that's it.
Wasi, what lesson will it be for you?
I think the lesson for me here, it's about Onyeka Chidera. He said start.
Start.
Yeah.
There are some things that that I wish I could have started.
Yeah, you know that guy, when he spoke, he even mentioned something very interesting. It was like, if he had known, he probably would have started had a girlfriend earlier in his uni days than now that he's leaving. Like, at that time, he felt that maybe later, and it never happened. Like, business ideas, thought processes, concepts,
like
starting a club, starting an organization, and it just didn't happen because he kept postponing. And so I think that lesson is actually good for some people. The only part we should ask ourselves is sometimes when you also hesitate, maybe it will also sometimes stop you from making some bad decisions. True. What lesson will it be for you, Sophia?
It's day 12 for me.
Yeah.
If Oluwayi Makalani, person says, do not expect too much from people.
Bam.
What's with you and fearing people,
But-
not
This one
expecting
is,
much
this
from
one is
people?
it's not even
but
about
Sophia-
fearing people. It's just not having expectations. I think if you want to avoid disappointment in life,
Okay.
you just don't know what's happening with anybody.
But disappointments
But
are part
Sophia-
of life.
But I think that there are still some disappointments that are avoidable.
So
But Sophia, there are some people that you ought to have expected much
Better from.
Better
I
from.
don't think so. I don't think you should put.
So are
anybody
you
on
telling me
pedestal.
that,
To whom
that
much
your
is
sister,
given?
you don't expect
Much
much
is
from your
given.
sister?
yeah, to whom much is due.
She
Yeah,
never
that's
said-
exactly.
No,
that's the
she's
expectation.
family, right?
Yes.
But no, even at some point, you should
Or
just
your
realize
dad.
the family don't owe you. They don't actually owe you these things. I don't think anybody.
That's
owes
another
you
discussion.
Yeah.
We're going to
I don't
take.
think anybody
Hopefully,
owes
that
you
is somebody's lesson. Then we're going to have to
Okay.
answer something. Like,
Okay,
do
okay,
people
okay,
owe
okay.
us? Do people owe us? You are listening and you're looking at me like, do you owe me? Do you owe us to watch this video? Is it because somebody foisted the video on you and then you're like, okay, I'll watch it. I'll watch it because of
True.
the person that sent it to me. You know, that happens sometimes. I think that for me, I don't know whether there can be an hybrid between Nifemi Omoshebi's lesson and Abimi Foluwa Ogedengbe's lesson. And that's day 33 and day 36.
Yeah, Nife says,
Nifemi says, you are the main character in your story.
yeah.
And you are free to eat them up with a plot twist anytime.
Anytime, yeah.
You know, that thing about the fact that many times we forget that we are the main character. You're not only are you the main character, you are the director. And you can actually determine so many things. I mean, there are things that are out of your control, but some things are so within your control, and you can make those decisions. And I keep like telling myself, true that when he said it, I'm like, this sounds like something that I should have said, you know. Maybe other factors have changed my lesson, but that was one lesson. And then I think Abimi Foluwa's one was prioritize yourself. You are all that you have. People live. And you know, that one was connected to my lesson. But although I didn't say the beginning part so that they will not think that it's about somebody. But you know, prioritizing yourself, you know, thinking about the fact that you are important as well. You should make important decisions about your life, and that you are all that you have part. You know, sometimes we think we are not all that.
There's someone's lesson
Nobody's around forever.
that's
Someone
is
is around.
around
People,
that.
I mean, people leave. People leave, and sometimes it's not even due to not by themselves. People can live by death. People live by disagreement. People businesses end, relationships end, and so people just leave, and then you are left either by yourself or by some other people.
Someone said, you're not all that. I
You're
can't
not-
remember who that is. But the person says, oh, okay, it's in between two lessons, right?
Yeah.
One person said, do not overestimate
Don't overestimate yourself.
in other people's lives.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Silas, right?
Yeah, Silas Abango.
So someone else said, you're not all that.
Yeah.
I mean, don't think you
Don't put
are,
yourself up there. You're not really
you are
up
that
there.
important.
Yeah, but if there was one lesson that I wanted us to also engage, it was about Dabelu Modelim. And she was asking one important question or discussion, and it was about whether or not
It will never be you.
yeah, you know that thing that people
Say it
say,
can never
don't
be
say,
you."
it can never be me, it can never be me, you know, and connecting it with Oyinda's lesson on extending grace and what you said about
Yeah.
extending grace. Is it true that some things can never be us?
I think that's very false. Like life happens.
That's
So-
it.
Left to me, like anything can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
Life just happens.
Change is the only constant thing in life.
I
So-
think that's someone else's lesson.
Yeah.
You know, somebody was talking about, he said you can move from 0 to 100.
Terrence,
And Terrence Howard,
Howard.
life is a
Yeah,
360
360
degrees. You can move from 0 to 100 and then from 100 to 0 in just one. And he explained it with his own life circumstance, how the loss of a family member brought them from 100 to 0, and how the appointment of his mom in a particular international institution brought them back from 0 to 100 again. The question I wanted to ask you before we went on the break, or which I was asking, and I'm going to say it when we come back from the next break, we're not going immediately, just stay in, is if the lesson you dropped was not the lesson you dropped, have you thought of another lesson? You know, sometimes one of the challenges I've had is that when I ask people, what is your biggest lesson in life so far? One of the things everybody says is do you know I have plenty lessons? I don't even know how to pick which one is the biggest. So maybe I'm going to start asking some people and say, okay, you have told me your biggest lesson. What's number 2 lesson? Because once in a while, sometimes when I listen to people and they mention their biggest lesson, and I'm like, okay, do you have another lesson? Like, tell me this one, and then tell me something else that you thought would have rivaled this lesson. And then I'm like, that number 2 lesson is really,
The first one.
it hits home hard. I mean, like, I feel it in my bones. When who was it that talked about nostalgia?
Grace.
It was Grace.
O.
Oh,
Grace
she
O.
just spoke about nostalgia is just a feeling. Don't act on it. You know,
yeah.
don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You feel good about something that's happened to you in your life. You are excited about the fact that some things happened, but you have moved. Just move. Like, don't be tempted to fall back into the abyss of that thing. So sometimes we're less. So when we come back, we're going to ask you, what is your new lesson? You want to say something before we go on that
Yeah,
break?
I want to
But
say
yeah.
something. I saw a story that I love so much that I also can relate to, you know, and it's by Professor Olayinka Ademo.
Oh, Professor
Adeyinka Ademo.
yeah.
So he said, and I quote,
Adeyemi Ademo.
he said, and I quote, he said, family is not about blood.
Family is not
Yeah,
about blood.
yeah.
There are some friends
Yeah,
that I've made in this school.
yeah.
Even some have convocated. Big shout out to Abiodun. Like, that guy is family, bro.
Be fun.
Like, Abi has
Abiodun,
like,
come and sponsor
like-
the
like-
podcast now.
like-
Send
like-
Abi and
like Abi has come true for me. Like,
Abi and Kwele
Abi
Jala.
and
Crazy
Kule
times,
Jalab to bring us ads.
crazy
We'll
times.
put ads
So
in the
when-
middle of
so,
the
so
middle.
when I was going through the stories, I was like,
True.
some
Family is
stories-
not
because
always
we
about
all
blood.
have
about blood.
those friends
Yeah.
that normally
God,
come
now.
true for us. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to my friends, man. Juneti,
You too, shout out to some of your friends.
Sabudi.
Damilolo.
You know,
Ifemi
Opa,
Moshebi.
thank you.
Monitor.
So
Yeah.
I think yes, I agree with that story.
Family is not about.
Without
Family
less-
is not.
family is
just
not
about
about blood.
blood.
There are some things that some that are not your for family will do for you.
Yeah.
That an
Some
outsider will
family
do
members.
more for you.
True.
You feel me?
I agree. I mean, when
It's-
Professor
I'm
Ademo said
not-
it was very short, very brief, but that it lives rent free in my head. There are people
I
who
swear.
have. There is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. I mean, like that is something that has just been there, and you find out that if you check many successful people, they have friends and family members who are not necessarily blood people. Like they've become blood.
Exactly.
And
True.
that's amazing. And I think that for people who are looking forward to that type of thing, it's a good time to just look out for people and build relationships. I hear that it's harder to find friends now, but you know, Elon Musk tweeted recently and he spoke about how your old friends are the best.
Yeah, true that.
Your old friends that you started together from scratch when
Yeah.
you had nothing on you,
Yeah, I think
they had the true friends.
I think I saw
Somebody
Not the
was telling
friends
me-
that you are
somebody
just
told me
making
something
right now when
about
you are
how
rich.
Your friends in high school are more of your friends than your uni friends.
Is
But I
that
don't
true?
think. No, yeah, I don't
That's
agree
a
with
lie.
that. I don't
No,
agree with that.
I don't agree with that
Yeah,
too,
of course.
because some of
I
my
met so many
classmates
friends that-
in secondary school that we don't even talk anymore, but yet they view my story.
I think the only secondary school classmates that I've held on to, we went to primary school together, went to secondary school together, we're here
Uni
together.
together.
Yes.
It's because you guys are in uni together. To me, you make
I still
When
relate
we-
to
me,
when we
you
come
make
back,
your real friends
don't worry. When
in
we
the
come back,
university.
we're going to tell you what our lesson will have been if we didn't give that original lesson, and then we're going to tell you a trivia about each of us. I don't know what's your favorite color. Can you guess our favorite colors? We're wearing different clothing, so can you guess our favorite colors? If you can guess our favorite colors and you get all of the colors before watching this part of the video, don't worry, send me a message. At this point, like this minute on the video, if you can comment all of our favorite colors, and I can check the time, and the comment is in alignment with the time. Is there a way to check that?
I think
No, I
so.
don't think-
There's
There we-
one YouTube analytic there.
if you can put a comment that shows I'll give you 10,000 naira. 10,000. If you can put
10,000
our
naira is
favorite
not
colors,
small money.
I'm going to comment.
our favorite colors before you watch the part where we put our favorite colors, then you win 10,000 naira. But when we come back, we're going to tell you what lesson we will have given if we didn't give that lesson. Not one of the lessons that have been given. I mean, some other lesson that has been in our head, and you're like, no. Somebody came to my office and said, I beg you, I want to say another lesson. I've learned something new. And then I'm thinking, maybe somebody before day 366 will mention that lesson. It doesn't always. And sometimes some people have repeated some lessons. That's another thing. When we come back, we're going to talk about some lessons that have repeated themselves, as well as lessons that have gone farthest on social media.
Yeah.
If you have dropped a lesson before, it will be nice for you to check the analytics, and then you'll be able to know which of the lessons people have watched the most on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Twitter as well. So I know Emmanuel has some of the details, and you may be able to give us some of the information. Some boy, no, don't be proud. When we come back,
When we come back,
we'll get to it. Thank you very much. You're welcome back. It's been fun having this squad talking about the Biggest Lesson series on the Biggest Lesson podcast. It's our first chance telling the rest of the world some of the lessons that we have learned and some of the lessons that you've been following. Interestingly, I have a list of about 30 people. I'm going to ask that they should scroll some of those names who have been supporting the lessons from day one. I mean, I'm going to give special shout out on day 100. You're just going to see your name. If it was possible, I'll have sent an amper to you or sent you money, but don't worry, I'll give you a mention today. No money yet. Wasiu, are you in the list? Anyway, favorite colors. What if you guessed our favorite colors earlier and you wanted to win the money? Now, I think that you missed it because Sophia, what's your favorite color? Blue. Yeah, blue. If you got blue and it was Sophia, then you probably won. Now I'm thinking of changing my favorite color. Wasi, what's your favorite color?
Mine is also blue, sky blue.
Interesting. Okay, now I think that I know why we are the ones on this side of it. Emmanuel, do us justice.
Okay, so I do not have a favorite color, but I like dark colors, black. I like very dark colors, basically.
Okay, so I wanted to change my favorite color. Immediately they mentioned their favorite color, but my favorite color is blue. That's the truth. I mean, like, so it's 3-1, and it used to be sky blue. Now I can do like sky other blue. Shades of blue, but yeah, like it's blue. It's some shade of blue all the time. Yeah, so if you got that rightly by any chance, I think that I'm going to be owing you more than 10,000 because I didn't know or think that there will be 3 of us on this place. Blue. Emmanuel, it won't happen. We won't give you anything.
I'll type with a different account.
Okay, I'm going to ask another trivia. If you missed out this one, we're going to ask something else after this. And then you will probably get it. But before then, let me ask them. Emmanuel, we were talking about the social media analytics, and you were talking about the accounts that have been very popular.
Yeah.
That have been following, liking, sharing. The people who you think that they were the ones running this thing. Is there anyone that comes off the top of your head?
Oh, off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone.
Okay. So, but with the days or the lessons that you say have gone like farthest. You mentioned Twitter, and then you were talking about Softboy. I don't know this guy. Why did we have him here now? You'll be proud. But okay, apart from Twitter,
Instagram had Adenike Moasin's.
Oh yeah, that's day 2.
Day 2. Yeah, no matter how hard you try in life, some things you do not just get.
Some people sent me a message on that lesson. She used the example of what game was that. Candy Crush. And how sometimes when you're playing Candy Crush, you just cannot get past some levels, and you keep trying, and you're wondering like, what's there? And then one day you just pick it up, and boom, and you can go. And how the same thing with life, and how sometimes you try on some things, and it just doesn't happen for you. And I felt it. I felt how effort sometimes does not match the results. Some people put in a lot of effort, and they're saying, "But I'm trying." But it just doesn't happen for them. And one day, some other things that they get in life, there are things that other people are struggling for. The things that they were supposedly simple, they don't get. So we've done Twitter, we've done Instagram, TikTok.
I don't know. For some reason, I'm not hating on TikTok. I'm not hating on TikTok.
So, by the way, what lesson was it?
the lessons that trended on TikTok,
Yeah.
your lesson and Bishop's lesson trended the most.
Thank you. I'll take my flowers.
But I'm not hating on the app. But then the thing is, people just scroll like
TikTok it is. Please,
YouTube. I said YouTube earlier.
Softboy
Wasiu
and
Wasiu and Rashid.
oh, okay.
And for Twitter,
I'm not
for
proud,
Twitter,
but you know.
Actually,
I'll check on exactly day 100. I'm going to go and check the number. I need somebody who will go and check the analytics and check which videos has the highest number of views on each of the platforms. Top 3 on each of the platforms. I think that this Emmanuel statistics requires some review.
Yeah,
Although he has not mentioned his own, but I think that
We need to
I need to check it. I need to fact check him.
So, but then there was this person that his lesson trended again. Dr. Olumide Olugbemi.
Oh yeah.
His lesson was very
I remember his
controversial.
lesson, and I know that Sophia spoke about his lesson.
Godliness
with contentment
is
is great gain, and was talking about how he extended.
There's no calamity greater than lavish desires.
Yeah, I remember, and people had discussions about
Yeah.
whether there's complacency and
Yeah.
lavish desires, if you're not over expectant, whether you will still get some things in life.
The discussion was mainly about what is the line between complacency and contentment.
True.
Yeah, I think I remember now.
True. Okay, so if that lesson was not, there was something I remembered, but once I remember it's ready for speech, I'll tell you. What's you?
So
What lesson would you have chosen? If you didn't choose your lesson, what would you have said? On the day that I asked you, what's your biggest lesson in life so far? If it wasn't that day and you had the chance to mention something else, paraphrase what that lesson would have been. Another lesson.
don't be shy. Shoot your shot.
Hey!
Wasiu, is this supposed to be directed
Don't
at
be
someone?
shy.
No.
Shoot your shot.
No. The thing is,
I'm
like,
adopting. I adopt the
The thing
judgment
is-
of my learned brother. Shoot
Okay.
your shot. I'm here.
Okay,
Shoot.
so
shoot,
like
shoot.
I want to expatiate on that. Don't be shy. Shoot your shot. There are some opportunities that I was
But you have
very,
turned into
very shy.
opportunities. Me that I thought that you were
That,
talking
like,
about.
I was so very, very shy that I couldn't be there to shoot my shot and to get it. A lot of things because I was too shy, I just
You were shy at
couldn't
some
get
point.
it.
Yeah,
I swear to
well,
God, I was shy at
yeah.
some point.
But you say
On that level, I was very,
Yeah.
very
I
shy.
didn't know that.
I mean, once you see him, you can tell that
serious.
there's this introverted version of him
But
as well.
from 200 level, I don't know if you are familiar with my talk show. Then talk with Biggie W.
think
Yeah.
I normally have every episode, just like lesson learned so far.
Yeah,
I
every
was
day.
having it every week.
Oh, every week.
Yeah.
I will bring people across
Telegram?
school colleges, yes, across
Yeah.
schools. I have over 1 to 1,000 people in members on that
Wow.
Telegram channel.
Yeah.
Now people actually listen and communicate there.
Why did you stop?
I stopped because of my academics. It was affecting me. You get, so I had to stop. And it was after the COVID that I actually took a break.
we
to
can
focus on something.
revive it again.
Yes,
you know?
that's why I was. When you told me that you'd be working in the radio station,
Yeah.
so I want to revive it.
Oh yeah, that would be nice. We could do it. We could do it.
So
Yeah.
yes,
Let's-
so
let's-
yes,
let's-
yes,
let's-
and yes.
let's-
Don't be shy.
Yeah, shoot your shot. I'm
Thank
here.
you.
I'm taking it the other way, whether opportunities or
Yeah,
Emmanuel,
that's what I'm
please.
thinking.
He's talking about opportunities.
Send that cold mail today.
Yeah.
Please.
Sophia,
send that text
your lesson.
today.
Let him not go.
What do you mean? Okay, so I think my lesson would also revolve around people, right? So this thing that's used to go around in my house, right? My parents used to say the world is like the solar system, basically how it revolves around. So my mom would always say, I'm going to say this in Yoruba, how she says it, and I'll translate it. She says omileyo.
Ben, you.
So it literally means humans are like water or stream. So everyone flows, right? So you do not know where and when you would meet other people. So always try to give your best to people, be the best version of yourself. That's it.
Sophia.
Sophie.
What's your
I still don't have it. Genuinely.
What is
So
your
that
lesson
lesson is just your lesson.
Just
No, that's
one
not
lesson.
it. I know.
Fear
I had
people.
one.
No,
I
but
had
do
another
you
one
know
a
that?
couple of days
Do you know
ago,
that it is
but now it
actually
just
funny?
escaped me.
It's actually funny. You say fear people, and you
Exactly.
girls will say fear me.
No,
When you
no,
say
men.
it goes the other way. It's just fear. You say
Fear
fear women, we
women.
say fear men. Everybody should fear everybody. Period. Case closed.
That reminds me, did anybody hear Yakubu Aruna's lesson?
I spoke about it.
You did, right?
That I
Yeah.
don't agree with
He
it.
said
But
it's
do you
second
do you
lesson.
remember? Do
The
you
story behind
you
the
know?
lesson.
Did you hear the story behind that lesson?
I think I
I don't
tuned
think
in.
you did.
I-
So
I
if
tuned
you
in
did
at some
hear the
point.
story behind that guy's
understand.
lesson, you
I
will
said at
understand.
some point,
You know that
at
this
some
guy
point.
said he did not speak English until
Yeah.
2019.
I heard.
So he was speaking outside.
Yes.
Yes.
So how did he pass his wife?
That's it. Exactly. You know, he passed his WAEC very recently. Just going to uni.
What's the
In law college.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
freshman
it's
in uni. When he was going to secondary school, some people told his dad they discouraged them from taking him out of their community into another school because in the school where he was in, mostly they were being taught in Hausa, and so he spoke Hausa, and he didn't speak much of English. In fact, he said he did not speak any English. Then they changed his school and he started learning. He said when he started speaking English, he was stammering. Like it could be just because of the switch of language. Now, my guy is doing well. And he spoke excellent, impeccable English. And so he was saying, don't allow people to discourage you. Don't allow
That's
people
your
to
point.
stop you.
That
Because for
person that
him,
told my
they
parents
could
that I
have.
should not go abroad.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know, for
My
all
parents don't allow others discourage.
I believe when the video is out, you are going to send it to them to
I'm
watch,
going to.
so that they can actually
I'm
learn.
gonna cut that part of the video and tell them.
You need to see this.
Yeah, I know. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the very important things that we feel people slept on. You know, sometimes a lesson goes by either because of the day, the time it was posted, the things that are going on in your life, the day of the year that it falls on. But sometimes people sleep on some lessons. So if there's a lesson that you think was slept on, you can type in the comment section the lesson that you think was most slept on. Like, this lesson really banged, but somehow nobody's talking about it, nobody's engaging it, or maybe they are not liking that particular video. But for you, it's a lesson for the gram, like one lesson for the rocks. When we come back, we'll start with
Lesson
that
for the
lesson
gram.
for you. We're happy to have you back, and it's the last part of the conversation. The last part of the conversation is for those lessons that you are sleeping on. You know, sometimes a lesson comes up and you don't think about it. You are like, did I hear that part? Did I miss it? When did they say this one? And for each person, it will be different. I'm not sure what lesson that you are discovering. Sometimes somebody calls me on day 73 or say day 85, and then says, oh, did you hear this lesson from day 32? And I'm like, oh, day 32, you are far behind. So that's why there's a playlist. If you go on the playlist, you find the biggest lesson series, and you can find all of the lessons from previous series. Emmanuel, what would be that lesson that's been slept on for you?
Okay, there are two lessons for me.
Yeah.
Day 85. That everyone is figuring it out.
Yes, I agree with you. Everybody
100%.
is figuring. I mean, that is one lesson like for life.
I really thought, like, I watched that video like 3 times because I did not hear some parts, and the analogy she gave was really, like, it resonated with me, right?
Right.
She says, oh, so some parents are first-time parents.
That's
they do
right.
not treat, especially first children.
Yeah.
First children might think, oh, they're pampering the last born.
Yeah.
They're not treating them as they treated me and all. But then everyone is just figuring it out.
True.
They're first-time parents.
That's
oh,
right.
don't do this, don't do that. But then they're just first-time parents.
Yeah.
My second lesson was from Dr. Oladipo Timidayo.
Timidayo.
He said, learn to go back to the drawing board. So if you miss it, take some steps back.
That's right.
Re-strategize. There was someone that said strategize something like some re something, but I cannot remember the exact lesson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What will it be for you? Lesson that you think that we're sleeping on. Use the mic. What lesson are we sleeping on?
Okay, I was looking at one lesson before my phone went off.
Yeah.
I was looking at Oropo's lesson.
Aisha.
Oropo Aisha. He said that's the 21.
Yeah.
He said no one promised that the world is going to be fair.
Yeah.
Bam.
try to make the world a better place. So I totally agree with that we're actually sleeping on this. Like nothing is fair.
No one told you
No one
that.
told you what.
No one
this way
promised
felt
you
is.
that this was going to be fair. We're just always expecting that the other person will think the way we are thinking, that the person will be nice the way we are nice, that the person will be good to us the way we are good to them. Wow.
Makes sense.
Wow. That's tough, man. Anyway, Sophia, what will it be for you? What lesson do you think that we are sleeping on?
It's a recent lesson, so it's understandable that we're sleeping on it.
That we have not yet
Let
scored
me
the
guess,
thousand.
day 86.
No, it's actually day 80.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your mindset affects your reality.
Makes sense.
I
That's
just think
EB
that,
free.
EB free, Ernest. That's what I'm saying. The way, if you limit yourself in your mind, it
Right.
just what you can do. You limit yourself as to things that you can do too. So it's all about your mindset. So
This is all about your mindset.
I think it's all about your mindset. If you think you can do
Buy
it,
5
then you
pens
can
now.
do it.
He said, Ibarra said you should buy Benz in your mind. He said, if it is all
always
about.
have to
Go
go that
to
extra mile.
CAF now and tell them you are paying with your mindset.
But you know that if you limit yourself in your mind, then you can't, like what you can do, you've limited
Aspire
yourself
to perspire to Maguire.
So
Lying Wasabi.
Awaken the lion in you.
Are you trying to tell us that
Lying
we're
and
delusional?
GSCC.
There's another lesson that says be delusional,
Delusional.
but be crazy faith.
Delusional with crazy
Crazy
faith.
faith.
I think it was
Another
Kamsi,
Yeah,
one
Kamsi.
Kamsi, and was speaking about Victoria Monet and how she wrote that she was going
She
to
was
win
going
the
to win
Grammy
In 2013,
in
and then she
2013,
didn't win it
and she didn't win it in
until-
2024. And I
Yeah.
asked her about Nice Abolore Akonde, who also sang "One Day I Go Bring Home Grammy," and that he doesn't have a Grammy yet. So
Yeah.
he now said maybe he's delusional, but not enough faith, or maybe the Grammy will still come someday. I don't know whether that's going
I
to
think
happen.
life just happens to people.
For the mindset thing, I just think that
Portable,
you
for
should-
example. I mean, sorry.
Has gone far.
Exactly.
than
And
Tony Montana.
Oh my goodness. Oh no.
But then,
Okay.
yeah.
I think that some of the lessons that I think we're sipping on, there's a few of them. Maybe I'll mention 3. One of them is Darayo Daniels.
oh, yes.
And she speaks about success
It's
is
different
for
for
everyone.
Yeah.
And you know, that knowledge can help you stabilize in life. It can help you decide not to compare yourself. It can help you to make decisions of value. Because many times we're in a race to be successful. We want to be like the other person. But the ability to define success your own way can help you to stabilize. And then you just calm down and say, take it easy. Success is different for me. It's different for everyone. And I think that that's some real take home for you.
Talking about races, Mr. Noah said something about merit.
Awards are
Awards
not
are
a-
not always the
Yeah.
definition of merit.
Yeah. And I think that number 2 for me will be Wemimo
Women
Annie. And Wemimo was talking about forgive, not
Oh,
necessarily
not
because
because
the
of-
person deserves it,
For
but
because of
because
yourself.
you also need to heal. Sometimes the lack of forgiveness can be doing you harm, and
Keeps
you can
carrying.
I really
Becomes-
slept on these lessons, oh.
yeah
Now I'm like, damn, I'm really thinking
yeah
about it.
you probably did. You probably did.
Women more forgive, not because of others, but then because of yourself.
but
don't
actually
forgive and
it's
forget,
it's
Sha.
it's actually
There was somebody who said
Yeah.
forgive, but don't forget.
There's another one like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
What did he say?
Forgive.
But don't forget.
But actually, that Women's lesson is actually nice because even when you don't forgive someone, that pain,
Yeah.
you need to say it's pain.
It keeps.
So
just
for
seems
you
a hole within you.
to, so
It's
for you to have
in
that
your
peace of
ability,
mind,
yeah.
you
Just heal. Let it go. So no,
Just let it go.
Just forgive the person.
But don't
So,
forget.
Don't let
So-
it go. Don't forget.
Yes,
Yeah.
now no, you can
But
let
letting
it
it
go.
go
You can let. That's
is
like
not
the
the same
whole point
thing
of
as forgetting.
yeah. It's the like letting it go is the whole point of forgiving the person. But don't forget, so it doesn't happen to you again.
Again, yes.
If there was one lesson, if you wanted to introduce the Biggest Lesson series to someone, as a viewer, what lesson would you have chosen? Let me ask the people who are sitting here. If somebody says, if you want to tell somebody, oh, I want you to participate on the Biggest Lesson series, and I want you to listen to one, what lesson will it be? Will it be your lesson? I know that you're selfish.
Don't listen to my lesson.
No, it's not going to be my lesson.
Whose
As-
lesson will you tell the
As
person to
even
listen?
as we are even discussing, a new lesson just entered my brain.
Hey,
nice.
Wasil.
I like-
For
I
me,
like
it will
that.
be Jacob Chima's lesson. It spoke about delay is not denial,
Oh,
and it spoke
yes.
about how the year before he wrote WAEC
WAEC,
and JAM.
yeah.
In WAEC, he had F9 in maths, and then he had 234 in JAM. And that it was very sad. In fact, a family member called him Olodo straight away. Then, the year that followed, he did that same WAEC again. He had A1 in maths, and in JAM, he had 290 something. Just 1 year difference.
Really not deniable.
Delay.
I mean, and I think that we all need to look at that. And I said to myself that day that for some people, it will not be academics, it will not be maths. It's just how within 1 year, Olodo can become one of the most brilliant people. And then his scores were like, he said that was the highest in his family. And if he passed maths that year, he would not have even known that he could go that far.
Yeah, I would not know he had that potential in him. Yeah,
So
makes sense.
sometimes just a short period between and things change for all of us. So if you were selling the biggest lesson series and you had to give one video for people to go and watch, what video would it be? Emmanuel.
What video would it be?
I mean, you've listened to most of them, or almost all of
I've
them.
listened to all of.
All of them, yeah.
Okay, I can't really think of. Okay, so I am partial to the first 50 days, right?
Why?
I just feel like those videos took me through trying times.
Oh, yeah.
I would just wake up and like scroll through the videos, right? So I'll still go back to day 2 or day 3. So the Morrison couple,
No, more they're siblings.
oh, the siblings,
Yeah,
siblings.
they're siblings actually.
So the Morrison siblings, they actually have nice lessons. I love their lessons. Then there's this other person, Victory Ikusemoro.
Oh,
Life
yeah.
is not a race. Life is not a
Steady,
race.
steady.
Is it not?
I mean,
It's not. I
no.
don't think it is.
it isn't.
From day 1 to 100 or 80 something that or 90 something. What lesson would you tell somebody to go and listen to if you were selling this series? I know that you're a PR guru, and so if you wanted somebody to say, listen to this series that I am promoting, what lesson would you ask them?
I
to
think
listen
it will be the lesson of Abimi follower,
to? Okay, then be.
the LSS.
Oh yeah, prioritize. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. If it was you, Sophia, I know that you've been doing a lot of selling for the lesson. My manager. But so, what lesson would you tell people to listen to? I'm saying that so that you too can pick one of the lessons. If you are listening now, pick one of the lessons and send it to somebody. Share it with somebody. Let them know that this is the biggest lesson series, and this particular lesson would now make them come back and say, "Oh, are there other lessons that I can listen to?" Yeah. What
I
would
think
it be?
it's Victoria's lesson. Everybody's figuring it out. Because at that point, there might be, you just think that this thing is not working for you or you've not gotten it right. And then you just listen to everybody's figuring it out and you think, okay, yeah, it's okay for me to still be figuring it out. Okay, what else is there for you to offer? Let me check other lessons. Let's see what's happening. So I think that's how the lesson is going
I think I'm going to add one lesson by Mobolaji
Ogumoero.
Yeah.
Like he said that
Nobody
basically,
truly understands
nobody
what
truly
it means
understands
to value
exactly.
something.
Then he gives this analogy or
Backstory.
this backstory of him losing a family member,
his
and
dad.
he did not really understand the import or of having that person in his life.
Yeah, he just thought everything his
Until-
dad was doing was
Exactly.
normal
Yeah.
until he didn't have
until
those
he
things
didn't have
anymore.
those things anymore. Yeah, and that really makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know what lesson I'm going to ask you to go and listen to. There's a lot of them. I mean, like sometimes I just play it and then I listen, and so many lessons just keep ringing in my head. And you know, Somtochukwu Chima says God is always the answer. And you know, when I heard it, so for me it was not about. So you may not know Somto, I know Somto. And you know, if I went to meet one pastor or a reverend or an afa or an imam, and he told me that God is always the answer, I would have felt, oh yeah, what would he have said? Like this is his faith or his religion is trying to. But Somto is somebody who is very intelligent, smart, and then critical, and so I just felt that wow, you know.
Even Somto.
No, I don't mean that, Sophia. You're the one that said even Somto. You know, I don't mean that part. Please, I beg you. You know, and then maybe some of my friends as well, Professor Ademowo, Dr. Temi Dayo's lesson as well, and you know, people's lives, you know, they share the backstory sometimes when they discuss with me. After I finish the recording, they tell me about how these lessons came by, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it makes lots of sense.
This makes a lot of sense. Now this makes a lot of sense. We've had male and female people. Which one do you think has been more, guys or girls, on the biggest lesson series?
I think girls.
Girls, yeah.
I didn't pay attention to
Because
that.
If you said girls and you were correct in the comment section, I would have said I'll give you money. But one of these days we'll do a live, and anybody that can answer first will have probably just. So maybe at the next one we'll just do it on maybe YouTube or live, and then immediately, or Instagram live, and then immediately you just say girls like this. We'll just send you something.
A token, please. A token.
A token.
I'm actually just thinking of being backstage there, so that when you see, I'll just.
But
type
Emmanuel,
girls.
what do you think? What do you think the ratio is?
It's actually
What
I
do you
think
think the ratio is? Girls versus
Okay.
boys.
girls
left
versus
to me,
boys.
okay, Emmanuel,
I think
go
3 to 1 to 3 to 2.
Really?
Yeah, because of every 5 lessons, you hear a girl's voice. Okay,
For
let
the
me show you.
percentage, yeah. Me, I'm going to give a 60% girls, 40% boys.
Sophia, have you ever thought about it?
There are lots
No,
of girls.
actually, now that you
A
mentioned, I never
whole
really
lot
looked at
of
it. But
girls.
like looking through the lessons now, I see Darayo, I see Ebedion, I see
Wemi
Aziza,
Moore,
I see
all of
Wemi
them
Moore, I
in the
see Aisha,
same-
I see Mistura.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
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 I think
So okay, I think the men need to come on board. We need to learn more lessons from the men. And then I'm doing like a whole people's edition very soon. Over 70s, over 80s. People who have, but the real challenge I've had with that group is that they're not going to tell you their lesson in 1 minute. They're going to sit down and learn their lesson. They don't have, it's not 1 minute, it's a full day. So I'm probably going to have to do like a proper one. There will be trivia on the screen, 1 or 2 questions about the biggest lesson series, and if you can answer that, you can tag any of us. Tag Softboy Wasiu, Emmanuel Alolodu. What's your social media?
Oh, my Twitter is Oh God of Evan.
Oh God, oh very good. And then Sophia.
Sophie Ways.
And
Sophie
then
Ways.
at Ifebamidele. So if you have answers to the trivia, you can tag us on Twitter, and then we'll give you something from the questions. These questions will be from the biggest lesson series. You will have found out that there's 3 questions that we'll have put at different breaks, and then if you can answer all those questions correctly, we'll probably get you something. And I'll also mention some of the people who have done like magic. I mean, they've been really, really nice supporting the biggest lesson series. I mean, I made a list some time ago. I don't know if you're on the list. If you're not on the list, your name is probably scrolling on the screen. But I was trying to do something, and Sab Olabode Olanusi Budi, salute man. This guy, my man, Sadip, you guys should come and sponsor, please, on the next podcast. I'm begging now. Those who have business, please help us tell Sherry Coco, please. Abe and Kule Jalabia, please sponsor, so that when I have the podcast, when we have the next podcast series, in the podcast we can just give out gifts, and then we can have ads as well. But for this one, we can still have ads. So if you can tell them now, you can put ads at those break times. We can. So Sarabudi, Aderonke, Kizo, thank you so much. Aderonke Makajo, I don't know if it's been exceptional. Dede Lolamiko, Ifeoluwa, Yimika Olani, my namesake, official Omoelewa, Deronke, Silas Abangu, Black Mojo, Mosaic, Opeoluwa F, Opeoluwa, thank you so much, OP. Joy Faithful, Christian Jones, Dr. Princess, Bing Peg, Baby, thank you so much. Simila Nos, Adeyinka Koko Olamangi, Ayoka, thank you. Onochuku Presi has been very, very supportive on Twitter. Presi always retweets and reposts. Thank you so much. Ibi Fury, Jaja Nengi, Broomsticks Girl, Ini, Dr. Temi D, thank you so much. Kenny Ajayi. Sophie, your name is here. How did you find yourself here? Softboy Wasiu, Emmanuel Alolodu, Aisha Oroko, and everyone who has featured from day 1 to 100. I think that I can't thank you enough. And for the men behind the cameras, the guys.
Our media partner, actually.
Optics, thank you so much.
And big then shout out to the Abuad radio station.
Thank you very much to Abuad Radio as well. And then I want to thank Imole, not the one that has passed. The Imole that is alive. And then we didn't see Aisha
we would have brought Aisha to the studio. Aisha was one that was organizing, making things happen, and all the guys who do the media work. If I missed out your name on this one, don't worry. Next one, Juneti. Thank you very much for my guys. And for all the people who have supported. You know, I've had friends, colleagues, people who have just sent messages and just said, do you know that biggest lesson series, today's one was for me? You know, thank you so much for the guys who have said something. Binkipe, Akingba, Adekweju Jayoba, my own friends and family members who just drop in a note and say, keep it up, like be consistent, don't stop at it. So it feels good, you know, to be at this point. When I started on day 1, I can't lie to you, I did not know whether I'll get to day 366, but I started by saying that 1 of 366, and I told myself that if I get to any point and I'm tired, I'll just say Oti Remio. But you know, they've told us Konisumi. Remy, you know, that means
I will never give up.
I will not give up. Even though somebody said we should not give up, but please, if you need to give up or take a break,
nowhere to stop.
Take Okutade Olayemi's lesson and take a break. And that's what we're going to be taking now. We're going to be taking a break until next time when we're with you on the Biggest Lesson podcast. Thank you for joining us. Don't worry, send in your messages. And next time when we're here, please send in your sponsorship as well. Have a beautiful day.